The 6 key milestones for a real estate agent include engaging a client vendor, taking property to market, receiving offers, entering into a sale and purchase agreement, payment of a deposit, and settlement. When engaging with a vendor, an agency agreement must be signed in writing. This agreement outlines details around the transaction, including commission and an estimated sales price. It is important that the real estate agent ensures the vendor is aware of their rights around gaining further information and legal advice on the agreement. Rule 10.9 of the Real Estate Agents Act sets out that the licensee must not advertise any land on terms which are differing from those given by the client. Rule 10.7 sets out that agents are required to disclose any known defects, but are not required to investigate and find the defects. When taking the property to market, a certain level of skill, care, and competence is required when working for the client. In the case of Indra Prasad vs. Real Estate Agents Authority, this level of care was not maintained. Here, 2 licensees were working with the complainant and his wife to sell a property. The vendors advised agents on details relating to construction work on neighboring properties. Following the sale of the house, the complaint is made to the Complaints Assessment Committee. The committee found the agents to be in breach of Section 89(2)(b) of the Real Estate Agents Act 2008. They were also found to have deviated from the guidelines in Rules 5.1, 6.1, 6.4, and 9.1. Lastly, they were in breach of Section 72 of the Real Estate Agents Act and falling short of the standard expected from a licensee.
The next milestone involves receiving offers from potential purchasers. Here, 2 rules from the Real Estate Agents Act 2012 come into light. These are Rule 6.2 and Rule 10.12. In the context of Rule 6.2, there will be multiple potential purchasers that will make offers on the property. You must ensure that there is no bias between any of the parties and that all of them are treated equally. For Rule 10.12, all the offers that you receive for the property need to be held for a period of 12 months. Once your client has accepted an offer, you can move on to the next milestone, which is entering into an agreement for sale and purchase. 2 rules you need to be mindful of are Rule 6.4 and Rule 9.1. For Rule 6.4, you need to ensure that the information you've provided to the purchaser is correct and that important information that could affect the purchaser's decision is disclosed. You must also keep in mind Rule 9.1, as the client is the person that you are working for. It's important that you satisfy all of the instructions they give to you. This case study is an example of what can occur when an agent fails to follow some of the previous rules. Licensee 1 and 2 entered into an agreement with the complainant and his wife to sell a property. At the time of the listing, the complainant had discovered that the 2 neighboring properties were to undergo construction and advised the 2 agents to disclose the information to potential purchasers. However, it was only after the property had sold that the complainant found out that neither agent had done so, as the purchaser was threatening to sue for the non-disclosure of the construction. This caused the complainant to file a complaint to the CAC. The committee had ruled that both licensee 1 and 2 had failed to follow the instructions of the complainant and ruled that they had engaged in unsatisfactory conduct under Section 89(2)(b) of the Real Estate Agents Act 2008. They also reference a number of rules that the licensees failed to comply with. That is Rule 5.1, 6.1, 6.4, and 9.1. Because of this, both licensee 1 and 2 were reflective of Section 72 of the Real Estate Agents Act, as they fell short of the standard a reasonable member of the public is entitled to expect from a reasonably competent licensee, contravened the rules of the Act, and were negligent or incompetent.
The next milestone is payment of a deposit. Under general law, there is no requirement for the payment of a deposit. However, the custom in New Zealand is 10% of the purchase price. Section 123 of the Real Estate Agents Act 2008 states that an agent must hold a deposit for 10 working days after the date it is received. It may also be paid out early through a court order or if an early release is signed by all parties. Requisitions. If the agent is made aware of any requisitions or objections about the land affected by the transaction while holding the deposit, the agent must not pay the money to any person unless in accordance with a court order or an authority signed by all parties related to the transaction. The next section is settlement of a sale of a property. Section 122 of the Real Estate Agents Act 2008 states, the agent must pay the deposit to the person lawfully entitled to the money or to the instruction of the entitled person. All reasonable steps must be made to determine the legally entitled person and the money may be held until the entitled person is found. Section 126 of the REAA, Commission. The agent is not entitled to any commission or expenses from the client for any real estate work carried out by the agent, unless an agency agreement is signed by both parties.